Hey there, thinkers and curious minds. Welcome back to the Philosopher's Path, where we explore the big ideas that shape our world. Today, we're diving into a powerful concept that has influenced ethics, politics, and even our daily lives: utilitarianism, as championed by Jeremy Bentham. Jeremy Bentham, an English philosopher and social reformer from the 18th century, is best known for his radical idea: the greatest happiness of the greatest number is the foundation of morals and legislation. So what does this mean? Let's break it down. Utilitarianism is a moral theory that suggests that the rightness or wrongness of actions depends on their outcomes. Specifically, actions are considered right if they promote happiness and wrong if they produce the opposite of happiness. Simple, right? The greatest happiness principle means that the most ethical choice is the one that will produce the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Imagine you're a leader making a policy decision. Bentham would advise you to choose the option that brings the most pleasure or the least pain to the most people. Let's look at a practical example. Suppose you have to decide whether to build a new park in your city. Utilitarianism would have you weigh the happiness and well-being the park would bring to the community against the cost and any potential downsides. If the park brings more joy and benefits to more people than it causes harm or cost, it's the right decision. But wait, how do we measure happiness? Bentham introduced the idea of the Hedonic calculus to help with this. It's like a happiness calculator. You consider factors like intensity, duration, certainty, and extent of pleasure and pain. Although not a perfect science, it's a systematic way to think about the consequences of our actions. Now, this all sounds pretty straightforward, but it's not without its challenges. Critics argue that utilitarianism can justify actions that seem morally wrong if they produce a net positive outcome. For instance, sacrificing one person to save many might be seen as acceptable, which conflicts with our sense of justice and rights. Despite these criticisms, Bentham's ideas have had a profound impact. His utilitarian principles have influenced law, economics, and public policy. For example, cost-benefit analysis in government and business decisions often draws on utilitarian thinking to weigh the pros and cons of different actions. Bentham himself was a social reformer. He advocated for animal rights, women's rights, and the decriminalization of homosexuality, remarkably progressive for his time. His belief in maximizing happiness led him to fight for a more just and equitable society. So what can we learn from Bentham's utilitarianism? It reminds us to consider the broader impact of our actions on others. It encourages empathy, forward thinking, and a focus on outcomes that benefit the many rather than the few. Thanks for joining us on this philosophical journey. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more thought-provoking content, and leave a comment below. How do you apply the greatest happiness principle in your life? Until next time, keep thinking deeply and living wisely.